Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another live edition of Legend from the Past and Future Show, where we have a hot one tonight. You know, my memory sometimes fail me, but I know I asked our guest to come on the show before, but I'm gonna let her get it too fast. She didn't have it. Anyway, how you guys doing tonight? Deneen, how you doing?
I
Deneen?
am doing well. I mean, I'm happy. I'm always happy on Wednesdays. It's the middle of the week. And the NBA finals start tonight. So who you got?
I'm going with San Antonio.
Well, I mean, I
New
think San
York.
Antonio, I hope the Knicks win, but I feel like San Antonio got the best squad. So, but you never know because that's why they play the game. If they didn't, we knew who was going to win every time, they wouldn't have to play the game. So I'm hopeful.
Absolutely. And we got to give a shout out to Roger, who is a man of distinction. Congratulations. Congratulations on the award. Congratulations.
Only did that.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I appreciate the award. Thanks, Armin, for everything. Taking care of the team like he does, And, I'm just getting back in town pretty much. I got back this morning, I had appointments, all that other stuff after I spent all this money, paid for college. Once you put your kids through college, I thought it was over with, but I guess it's not. It's an ongoing thing. So, for my granddaughter.
Absolutely.
But now I'm gonna have 4 in school, 4 in college.
That's a blessing.
Yes, it is. It is. Yes. Grandchildren are a blessing, not to your pocket, but they are a blessing to your soul.
Hey, man, I like that.
Hey, well,
but not to your pocket, though.
It's been so long getting this power pack person on the show. I'm so happy. I'm so elated to have her on the show. So without further ado, let's bring Zina Pierre to the stage.
Dr. Zina Pierre.
Hey. Come on now. Armin, I think you're right. I stand correct. Now it hit me that you did ask me about maybe a year ago. I don't know.
So one second.
You're wrong for that.
Too much fun with these sound effects.
Yeah, you're wrong for that right there.
Well, Dr. Zina, how are you doing tonight?
Thank you. It's good to be here with all of you. Listen, it's always good to see family. All of, when you say Annapolis, everybody's family. So it's really good to have an opportunity to come and to be with you and Deneen and Roger. Deneen and I were like sisters growing up. We shared clothes.
That's right. That's right.
So.
Well, let me formally welcome you to the show. And what we do here, Zina, is we go back and come forward, okay?
Oh, Lord.
Tell everybody where you were born and raised.
On me, okay?
Where were you born and raised, Zina?
Born and raised in Annapolis. Fifth generation Annapolitan. So, yeah.
What are some of the things you did? You know what? I'm gonna tell you what. Normally I take charge of this, but this is what I'm gonna do. All right, this is what I'm gonna do because your schizo is right there with all the questions. Your time growing up. All right, Deneen.
Yes.
You take charge. Go ahead.
There you go.
Well, he's. I've been on here for some time, so he already cued me on some of the questions that I need to ask. So he wants to know some of the things that you did when you were growing up. What did you enjoy doing when you were growing up?
Well, my whole life was the church. My grandmother was steeped in the church, and so I don't remember a time that I wasn't in First Baptist Church of Annapolis, quite frankly. So from, me going to her prayer meetings as a 2-year-old on a Thursday night, all the way to becoming the youth minister, to becoming the first woman licensed to preach in the history of First Baptist Church of Annapolis. And so, it was childhood was childhood. Our fun times in Annapolis was, going to the rec for the games in the summer months, and watching the basketball games, or down Robinwood to watch the leagues, and Curtis Spencer having all these different leagues, going to Truston Park. So, all of the things that probably all of us remember, making, we were in the homecoming court together, Deneen and I, and, it was a regular childhood. Annapolis is a place, I got to say, I can't imagine growing up anywhere else, because it really is a community city. We didn't, as kids, what we see now of the racism and the divide, we didn't see that growing up. I lived on 3rd Street. I was born on Clay Street, and then we were on 3rd Street, and then we moved from there, from 3rd Street to 20, I think it was. And then from there, I moved to Pasadena. And so, yeah, I don't want to give these long answers. You can jump in when you want to, because I'm a preacher, so I can give you a good long answer.
Go for it.
So what we want to know some things. Tell us about what did you do? Because I know when you started your career, your first career, because you have many. Tell us what you did. What were you doing? I mean, and I have another. Matter of fact, the other question that I have, and then I'm going to give it to Roger. I'm just going to ask you one more question before you don't answer that. The question I have is, what did you think that you were going to be doing in the future?
I always knew that I wanted to do communications. So that was something that had already been in my heart to do from a little girl. I used to get in the mirror with a broom and act like I was a news anchor. And so really, my dream was to become a weather forecaster. That was initially what I wanted to do. And I was working at Fox News. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, and you told me not to get ahead of myself. So let me dial it back. But no, as a kid, I was always, anybody who knew me, I was rather shy. I'm an ambivert. So I'm an introvert by nature, but I'm an extrovert by trade. So I can flip in and out, but my preference is I'm cool with just quiet time. I don't need a whole lot of people, because I like quiet time. So, yeah.
No, that's good. No, yeah, it's kind of like an oxymoron on it, right? She's like, I love communications, but I don't want to be bothered.
Exactly. I mean, you do what you do based on what you love, but it doesn't always mean that. Well, I mean, my passion definitely has always. I worked at Fox 5. I worked at America's Most Wanted. I worked at News Channel 8. I worked at Sports News Network when Sports News Network was the first 24-hour sports channel long before ESPN came around. I was working at USA Today television show, which was a spinoff of the newspaper, the USA Today newspaper, which I don't even know if it exists any longer. But that was my first initial job out of high school. I was like a Jamaican. Okay, I was working and going to school. I was a statistician. You could appreciate this, Almond. I was a statistician for the Washington Bullets as a consultant. And so I used to sit at the conference table and put the stats together for the announcers. And then I would go, and back then, remember, they used to do halftime in center court. And so I used to set up the media interviews during halftime in the center court. And I used to also do that for the hockey team as well. So, and I was doing that as a consultant while I was still working at America's Most Wanted and Fox News. So I had like 3 or 4 different jobs at one time getting my hustle on.
Well, see, and that was before she became famous. So, Roger, you take it from there.
Famous?
Yeah,
well, after all that, I mean, obviously, then Alma did a right call. She is a legend. But you know, let's talk about, since you clowned on me since I didn't know you. But yeah, you say you came my house going, hey, you don't know no Parkers?
I do know
Alicia. You know Alicia Parker.
Yeah, that's my sister.
Oh, okay. See, okay.
See,
listen,
I might have seen your picture because Lisa had a plethora of pictures. I might have seen your picture in her house because she had all these pictures of our friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. May she rest in peace.
Yes.
And so let's talk about the 2009 run for mayor. How was that? Oh, I'm wrong something. Okay, let's talk about something. Because I saw the eyes go up. You might not want to talk about it.
No, she didn't talk about it.
Yeah, go on and hit it. Go on and hit it because the knee ain't gonna let it go. So go on and hit it.
Well, I mean, you know, as there were 11 candidates, I used to, you know, for a couple years prior to 2000, I think starting in 2007, I want to say, I was on the Annapolis Democratic Central Committee. But it had always kind of been in the back of my head that there was more, you know, that God had more for me to do because, you know, at that point I had worked in the White House, had worked in, you know, for President Clinton, had been in the television industry for 10 years with all of the ones that I just mentioned earlier to you, Fox News and Sports News Network and USA Today and America's Most Wanted. You remember when you would see the people answering the phones like they were taking in calls with, we were all actresses. So, you know, so it wasn't really, I mean, real people were behind the scenes answering the phone, but we were all on there, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like we're answering the phone. I shouldn't say that probably because I think they still have that show. But anyway, so when I left, I got tired of television because I was stressed out. Back then, DC was the murder capital of the United States. And having to sometimes do some, you know, I was a production assistant, but I also had opportunities to do some field stuff. And to see all of the stuff, the murders and black on black crime, and just, it was so much. It was really, really heavy. And I said, man, I got to get out of this because it was starting to impact me in a way that I didn't, you know, I just wasn't happy and thrilled about it. And so I got out of it. And, but before I got out, I was at News Channel 8. That was my last job. And News Channel 8 is Channel 7 now. And so I think it's still called News Channel 8. I'm not certain. But at any rate, I was there and I was I had to go out to greet a guest that was going to be on air. And her name was Janice LaChance. She was head of communications for the Office of Personnel Management. And that was in 1993. The Clinton administration had just started. And she came to talk about the government shutdown. And I just happened to say to her, hey, you know, you're in the Office of Communications. I do communications. Are there any openings in your office? And she was like, give me your resume. I went right in that desk drawer and got my resume. I was ready.
The paper.
Listen, I was the paper, right? It wasn't an email thing back then, right? And so I gave her my resume. They called me in. They did, you know, a couple of interviews, and the rest was history. That I ended up working my first job in the Clinton administration in 1993 for the Office of Personnel Management, and how God worked that thing out. I mean, one day the head of the agency needed a speech, and the speechwriter happened to be sick that day. And I ended up drafting his speech for him. And so they saw, you know, and I was also doing a federal government talk show at the time where we were doing personnel issues. And the show was aired. We produced it in the U.S. Chamber of Commerce building because they had a whole studio like a regular television station. And so I did that show for them. And so fast forward, here I am in the administration, and then I remember telling God, I want, what's the next thing? Because the door had opened for me to become the speechwriter to the deputy director on a regular basis. And so I was writing speeches for her. And then the door opened for me to go to the Labor Department, U.S. Labor Department under Secretary Reich, and then Secretary Alexis Herman, the late Secretary Alexis Herman, who was like an amazing mentor to me. And so I went over there and I became the Director of Communications for the Women's Bureau. And I wrote in my journal that I wanted to have a job where I could make real impact, even though what I was doing was teaching women about their workplace rights. I mean, I was writing articles and programs and stuff and initiatives for that. But I wanted to do something that was connected to people that looked like me, even at a more granular level. And the president had the Welfare to Work initiative. And so I happened to know Betsy Myers, who was, Dee Dee Myers was Betsy's sister, and Dee Dee was President Clinton's chief of staff at the time. So I called Betsy and I said, hey, I hear you have this position, you know, and she interviewed me and I got the job. So I was the director of the Welfare to Work initiative. And in that role, the job was to build opportunities to bring 200,000 men and women off of the rolls and into either their own businesses or into government jobs or into small businesses. And I was able to far exceed that number within less than 2 years. I know I'm talking lots, so y'all can interject and tell me to shut up. But I remember
it's your night. That's why you're here.
Well, thank
Exactly.
you. I remember, Roger, when we were giving awards to the women who had that the president wanted to acknowledge as, you know, overcomers in this Welfare to Work initiative. And I made certain that there was at least one or two people that came from Annapolis.
There you go.
But I also, and I never, you know, you never forget where you come from, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'll never forget my heart breaking because one of the women, not from Annapolis, but from another location, could not pass the clearance to be able to get her own award because she had a prior record, unfortunately, because she was dating someone who had brought drugs in her house.
Oh, Lord.
The house was raided. And of course, she went down with the whole situation because it was her place. And that just, I mean, that broke my heart because she had worked so hard to do all the stuff that she had done. But nevertheless, you know, when I said, okay, I'm ready for the next. And I ended up going into the White House as a commissioned officer. And I was special assistant to the president for intergovernmental affairs. So a commissioned officer is an officer that's sanctioned by Congress, and they get to keep forever the title, the honorable. I never used that, but I could if I needed to, but I never used it. But can I tell you a funny, memorable time when we were leaving the White House? And all of us, you know, in the White House, most, you know, normally during an administration, a lot of people check out like the last year. They don't stay all the way to the end.
Right.
But I stayed all the way to the end. We all left out January 19th, you know, the same day. We all checked out at the same time. And I'll never forget a couple of things. One, man, it just escaped me. Oh my God, help me, Holy Ghost. But anyway, I remember, and I still have this plant on my desk to this day. The president would get different gifts that, you know, people would send. And of course, you know, you can't take that kind of stuff. And it was a whole storage of stuff and it was not expensive stuff. And I remember Betty, who was his secretary at the time, she had sent me a couple of things from the president. He was like going through his little things that he had of his own, and he was giving it out to different staff members. And it was some kind of DVD. And I was like, I called her, I said, Betty, why would you give me who would give me this dumb DVD, and she's like, the president. I was like, my bad. So, but he also had an ivy plant on his fireplace, and he had the gardener to break up the ivy plant and give it to people. And he made they made little small things, and mine is still to this day. I still have my ivy plant. Wow. That's about this. It's huge on my desk out in the morning room. So I have some good memories. Of God has been so good. The doors that have been open for me, only God could have done it. And I know that they were only open, Roger, because I put God first. I mean, right, there was nothing for me to pray for people right in the White House. I could countless stories of praying for people, them coming in my office, or me taking some holy oil and putting it on them. I mean, I did what the Lord told me to do. So, and I've had, a great career. I mean, being on Air Force One and my first trip to Africa was with the president. We went, over to Nigeria when President Obasanjo was in office, and President Clinton was the first U.S. president to go over there. And I was fortunate enough because I was the liaison to mayors and county officials and state legislators. I made certain at every stop that I took care of my own.
Absolutely.
I took care of others too, like Governor O'Malley went to Ireland. But when we went on that trip to Nigeria, I started calling the different mayors, the Black mayors that I had relationships with, because it was my responsibility to bring to the president whatever the politics was of those communities of people. I made certain that the president was aware of certain things, anything that needed to be, known. But nevertheless, when I asked the chief of staff, can I have 7 seats on the plane? And so he said, well, who are the names you want to bring? John Podesta and Mignon Moore. I'm telling you, Mignon is, if you never heard of this woman, you gotta look her up. She was one of the closest confidants to President Clinton and to Hillary Clinton, and Kamala Harris. But she made certain I was watched over, taken care of. You gotta have people. She told me when I came to the White House, she said, if you got a complaint or you in your feelings about something, tell one person. She said, but don't allow people to be in your business. Take your complaints and find one person that you can trust. And I keep that, to this day, because, folk would tell all your business and then destroy you after you tell them your business. I've been there doing that. And so let me shut up because I'm talking too much, and I ain't giving y'all a chance to ask me nothing.
Well, you're answering all the questions with your. So
here's the deal, though. See, you have to. This is why Armin created this platform. See, because like you said, I didn't know you.
I know. Well, see, we're even.
We're good now.
I tried to clean it up for you.
Other people now know you. I mean, if they read your bio, there's a plethora of information. I mean, you're amazing. But see, now that Armin created this platform, these people that's online will truly know how amazing you are. Because there's people that see you every day that don't know this.
Told y'all.
Hey, look,
fur babies acting up.
I'm getting ready to put some house rules on Zina in a few minutes for you. Hey, what's up? This is legend from the past and future shit.
All right, we're gonna go to Armin.
Armand, you need to use your mic.
Yeah, you sound a little muffled.
Yeah, if you're gonna have your mic, you need to use it.
Hey, I do use my mic. All right, maybe it's your ears. What's going on?
Ooh.
Hey, did I come back that time, Roger?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah,
you got him. It's 2-on-2 now.
We can't hear you.
Round 2. You want me to keep talking so they can stop fussing?
Yeah, do that, because they bump heads.
Let me do this first. Betty Booker, welcome to the show, and Jack Abrams, welcome to the show.
Betty is one of my members.
And Silk Sims, I don't want no stuff out you tonight,
Oh
brother.
Lord.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, and I gotta welcome our Vice President of Operations, Erica Matthews. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Yeah, Zina.
Yes.
All right, let's. We're gonna ask you some questions tonight, okay? All
Okay.
right.
Go ahead.
So let's talk about your key accomplishments. Now, you organized and moderated town hall meetings. Who was that for?
When? Recently?
No. This was with the where are we here? Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland.
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
together university. What was that about?
Yeah. Well, I'm the president of the Maryland Black Caucus Foundation, and so every year we have our annual legislative weekend, and we bring subject matter experts based on the legislative agenda of the Legislative Black Caucus. Each, some of the members will host virtual. We used to do them in person pre-COVID, but now it's we do it virtual, and really virtual works because people will come and congregate, when it's something easy for them to get to. And so based on those issues, we have different people that come in. We do it on a Friday during the day. And then Saturday we have our annual gala, and it's held at Maryland Live. So this year, Lord, I think it's November 6th and 7th at Maryland Live. Would love for y'all to come.
Okay.
We'll have more information on it soon enough. It's November 6th and 7th of this year at Maryland Live. So, and it's an opportunity for the legislators to come together. And one of the things that's been my baby since, and you all know that Darius Stanton was also present. Darius was president prior to me. And it was actually Darius that brought me onto the board. And I ultimately became his vice president and then became president. And so, so I owe a lot of my, the door that was open for me to come onto the board to credit to Darius Stanton. But on Saturday mornings, we do this thing called Business Over Breakfast. And the goal is to really bring businesses from across the state. And then we bring procurement officials from the state, from the county, from the city levels of government. Last year, I had the chief global procurement officer from Amazon, powerhouse sister. And so people are able to reach and touch and hear from these people and make connections afterwards. And that's what it's all about. I've been in business for 25 years now, because after I left the White House, I was on the board of the National Council of Negro Women. And Dr. Height said to me, well, Miss Pierre, what do you want to do? Because you couldn't call each other by your first name. It had to be Mr. or Miss in her presence. I mean, she was old school, proper. And so she asked me, what did I want to do? And I said, I think I want to hang my hat out there and start my own business when I leave here. And so she gave me office space in the National Council of Negro Women building. This is a building. It's the first Black-owned and only Black-owned business on Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest DC. So it is smack dab in between the White House and the U.S. Capitol. I mean, you can't get any more power than that. So,
is that your Reyarp Strategies group?
Reyarp Strategies group, yes.
Wow. So now
Reyarp, if you look at Reyarp is prayer spelled backwards.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I started that company, and lobbied for Baltimore City. I was the lobbyist for a number of years for Baltimore City. I did some work for the Economic Development Corporation for Anne Arundel County under Janet Owens. I've City of Denver, Philadelphia, a number of cities around the country I've represented over the years. Recently, as early as last year, I was a part of a team that wrote the executive order and helped to build the Procurement Reform Act. So it was a team of us that were hired to draft the executive order for the governor, and thus that turned into, after hearings, and we spoke at different hearings to the state legislators, and ultimately it went into act. And so we are now, if you are a small business owner, because my thing now, I'm big on procurement and inclusivity when it comes to ensuring that businesses get the kind of information that they need to succeed. And so, wherein before the Procurement Reform Act, you had to, if you're a minority business enterprise and you're certified in the state, you had to renew your license every year. But now it's every 3 years. So, when we were writing this stuff, drafting this stuff, we drafted it from our own lens as business owners.
Right.
And so recently, 2 years ago also, I had and I'm still working with them. Well, as of last month, I'm not, but I did a MOU with the 4 HBCUs in the state of Maryland, Coppin, Morgan, UMES, and Bowie State. And the MOU, the governor signed, all the presidents of the universities were there. And this MOU is an interagency agreement that allows for the procurement officers within every state agency to do direct business with the HBCUs. Okay. So wherein a regular business has to go on the EMMA list and apply for it through an RFP or RFQ and all that, the procurement officers can contact directly to the schools and say, hey, we have this in the queue. Are you interested? And,
Nice. So that's like a kind of like a sole source, so.
Yeah, because it's an interagency agreement. So that provides for an opportunity for the agencies. They understand and know that they get first preference.
Oh, that's good.
So now before I give it to the name, do you see yourself back in politics?
No. 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 I thank God, listen, that was a tough time for me. Politics is different now than it was back then. There's no decorum. There's no civility now. If you run nowadays, you have really got to be built for it, and your skin has to be tougher than that oak tree out back of my house, because the level of just meanness and evil and wickedness unnecessarily is just, it's not a good place, especially when you come with a heart to serve and a heart to give, and you see so much other. But there are some, and I'm so thankful to the Lord for what God has done for Speaker Jocelyn Pena Melnick. I mean, she's the first Afro-Latina to become Speaker of the House. And she's a friend, and I'm grateful to see her in that position because she's a big tent type person. It's not black, white, green, or blue, but she's big tent, which I really appreciate about her. But no, I don't think I would do anything, but what I'm doing is serving, on several boards. I was the first African American in the 300-year history of Annapolis to win the Democratic primary, the first. Awesome. We know that, and we thank God for the service. Thank you of Mayor John Chambers. He was appointed in that position, I believe, after the mayor that was in that seat had committed suicide, I believe, and so he was appointed into that position as temporarily as mayor and served well and made our community proud. But I was the first African American to ever win the Democratic primary.
Now, say that one more time, Zina.
I was the first African American to win the Democratic primary for mayor of Annapolis.
There you go. That's what I was asking for.
And have we had any women? Have we had any other women?
Ellen Moyer, yes. You had Ellen Moyer from over in Eastport.
That was before you?
Yes, Ellen Moyer was before. Let's see, who was there anybody after her before me? It was an open seat when I ran, so I think Ellen. Yeah, she came back. So I think she was in, and she had termed out.
Okay.
Yes.
And any other women? I was just wondering, just how it works in Annapolis.
There were 11 candidates in that race. 11.
Wow.
Candidates in that race.
That says a lot. Well, based on the information that you have provided us, you were highly qualified. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had done everything that needed to be done to get to that place. I mean, you even had, you had served with all the different mayors. So you were, I mean, there was no, no, it wasn't, nobody was surprised because you were highly qualified.
I think I was the second woman because Ellen was the first, and she followed after her husband.
Yeah.
And so, and I see Lonnie, her daughter, is running for something. I saw a sign the other day. So it's good to see. Lonnie is good people. So I know she would serve well. But it was, I saw a need, and I made it clear I wasn't running as a Black candidate. I was running as a qualified candidate. Exactly. And I remember when President Clinton did a radio promo for me, and he did the oh my goodness, what do you call it? My brain is a little flat, but robocalls. Where you get the calls, and it was funny because people would call me and say, President Clinton just called me. So it was hilarious to hear people like really with that level of pride. And I got to say, my family came out strong. I mean, we opened up a campaign office right in Ward 1 where everyone said I would never win. I could, there was no possible way. I mean, I can't begin to tell you the people who came to me and said, don't run, you'll never win. And I said, okay, let the chips fall where they may. I wasn't going to lose anything, but a position. And I still had a company. So, and I wasn't running for the posterity. I wasn't running for the fame. I was running because I had enough experience as a federal lobbyist to bring money back to the city. To bring, something different, a new look, wasn't that I was trying to color the world of the city, but to bring a different angle along with the resources, because here I was a lobbyist bringing, millions of dollars to Prince George's County and other, places where I represented. It was like, so far be it from me not to do it for my own city. So that was my heart's desire, and to ensure that everybody had a fair shake. A fair opportunity, that the playing ground was equal, it was level, that people could have access to, quality health care, people could have access to safe streets, and have the pride of, going into their community and not being afraid to live in that community. So, and to have what we used to have when we were growing up, y'all know this, police officers were on boots on the ground. Yeah. We knew them. We knew Officer Powell. We knew what's his name? Is Butch Powell? Was it his name Butch Powell? It was two of them, because my uncle was friends with one of them. Then so we knew these people. So you felt safe.
Yeah, no, that's true. No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. I think I'm gonna let Roger go ahead and ask a question, and then we'll go around one more time. Go ahead, Roger.
Okay, thank you very much, kind lady. But the with you brought up how tight Annapolis was back in the day, which was true. But one of the reasons for that if you go back and think, it was only one black high school,
Mhm.
and that was Bates. So everyone knew everyone. See,
Yes, true.
so that gave that community that feeling. And during that time, where it said take a community, raise a child, it was, because I remember my brother and I was downtown in Annapolis cutting up, and this lady I never saw before in my life said, "I'm gonna tell Roger," and I was like, "Who is she?" And by the time I got home, my mom them already knew what happened. You know, back then I was calling her everything in the book, but now being a grown man, I realized she was right.
It takes a village.
It takes a village, and Annapolis was that village, but I don't see Annapolis like that anymore because of the influctuation. But anyway,
I think too, part of that is, you know, Annapolis doesn't, you know, a lot of people left, you know, to try to get a better situation for themselves, you know, somewhere else. I know, you know, and then they came back, because I did that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I left and went off and did what, you know, built a career and all of that stuff. And then I took what I learned and I brought it back.
Right.
Or I tried to bring it back.
Right.
But, you know,
Yes.
and so, and now I'm in this really kind of, you know, at 61, I want to come back home. You know, I can't afford it, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
I'm thinking like, okay, this house in Annapolis, I couldn't afford it. So, you know, but it is a desire of my heart to come back, but not to run. I mean, just, you know, to be back in the element of, there's nothing like Annapolis. You know,
right.
when you tell somebody that, like in DC, if you told somebody, "Oh, I'm from Annapolis," "Oh my God, you're from Annapolis!" So it was like this big deal if you said you were from Annapolis, and we're like, "Really?"
Yeah, no, that's true.
They
No,
think
it's
you got money. They think you got money, but Armin and I did the same thing. We left and came back, and for the same reasons, you know, to develop a career, and then you bring back what you learned back to Annapolis. But you know, just speaking for myself and probably the group, you know, we glad you. We glad you did everything you did, and we super proud of you. You know, you're right. It's just crazy. I was looking at this little townhouse in Annapolis, $500,000, right? And you step out your house into the sidewalk, no yard, nothing. I say, dude, you better get out of here with that. But you know, I'm going back to Deneen before I get in trouble.
I don't want us to finish, because we know time's going to go quick. I want you to talk about your latest business venture with the water.
Oh. Well, about 4 years ago this month, former delegate Daryl Barnes and I got together, and we launched a water company called Quora Alkaline Water. And for the first 3 years, we were in Royal Farms. We have been in parts of 7-Eleven in the Prince George's and in Charles County area. We're in a host of hotels, the Westin at BWI, the Hyatt and Cambria in DC, Homewood Suites, Doubletree. We're in a number of hotels and gas stations and Shoppers Food Warehouse, and really trying to tap into some others. Would love to get in Harris Teeter's and Whole Foods and Wegmans, and so that's my next thing. But beyond that, prayerfully in the next 6 months, I want to start a pet line of water. So because people, you know, people who love their pets love their pets.
They do. They do.
So,
and you're one of them. You're one of them.
Yes.
Right.
And the line is shorter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a host of, you know, alkaline water bottling companies out here. You know, the one thing I will say that's unique about this water, and last year I took over the company 100% owner now. And so just trying to do my thing. So, you know, if you guys are looking for like subscription sponsors that you promote their, you know, water for, you know, something, let's do that, because, you know, you need to think about that if you haven't already thought about that.
Let's take yes.
Listen, I ain't got a whole lot of money. I got a whole lot of water.
Listen, you know what? Hey, product is money.
It's really, really good water. It's artesian based water. So if you like water like Fiji, which is artesian water, then you'll love our water, and it has a natural pH balance to it. And so one of the things Dick Gregory taught me was that a lot of people think, the higher number you go, then that's the best. It is for short-term usage,
right?
But it should never be for long-term, because you can start to strip your natural minerals. And so, and you should never take high levels with your meds. You should use, regular spring water or whatever, because it can cause a breakdown in the strength of the medicine. And so, I keep saying we, but it's me now. Just trying to get out there. And so, any way that, I can support you guys and you can support me, I would greatly appreciate it. So
I like that. I like that.
And, in my preaching career, it's, COVID really did a doozy on the churches. But one of the things that was a blessing was that regardless of whether you were a mega church or a small church, we were all at the same level, because we were all on the same platforms.
Right.
So whether you were, a 20,000, person church or 2 people, everybody was on Facebook.
Right.
Everybody was on YouTube. It's all in how you present it. So I think it brought a level of it forced you to perfect your thing in terms of how you present yourself.
Right.
Because that's really what it's all about, is how do you package that thing to present it in a way that would draw people to want or desire to come. So yeah.
Nice.
Zina, what I'm going to do is we're going to work something out where I can get your product on my website.
Okay.
Where more people can, and we'll work something out with that, okay? Because I definitely want to help you out, and I know you want to help us out. So I'm going to let the business savvy treasurer, Dean C. Ward, handle that transaction. I'm gonna get you on that website, though. Okay?
Oh, I got some thoughts about that. So we'll talk offline.
Awesome.
So that's good. Go ahead. What else? What you got, Armin?
So this is what we have front and back with you, Zina.
We gotta have part 2. We had already talked about it before you came.
Yeah, let's do a part 2.
We did. We talked about that before you came on. We were like, we're gonna have to have part 2, because we don't like to rush. Like, we really don't. We really kind of rushed through today, but we don't like to rush. So we'll have part 2.
Yeah, and I would love to talk about, the whole notion of pivoting. Hey, that's my deaconess. See, my church crew in the house.
Right.
Well, I'm going to tell you something before you say whatever you have to say. Now, I'm going to go there. I'm not afraid. I know the Bible says, touch not my anointing and do my prophet no harm. But pastor,
yes,
you are pastor.
Yeah.
Dr. Pastor Zina Pierre, right? Right? Okay. All right, I'm finished. Okay. Now, you guys have anything else you want to say to I'm really thinking about extending this show a little bit, but I'm not gonna do that tonight.
Thank you. You got to fly out tomorrow anyway.
Yeah.
We gotta have her back.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I like it when the guests come on and take over. Like
she know their stuff. She know.
That's a former news person.
That. It make our job so much easier, because Armin really make us work for that $1 a show.
I didn't want to be chatty catty, and I know I was kind of like that tonight.
The information that you provided, Zina. Oh my gosh! I mean, it was like I felt like I really should have just been taking notes, so I can help you when you do your memoirs, so I can help you write the book.
I did take notes
because it was so much good information. I mean, to think that you're just 61 years old and to have done all the things that you have done and still be who you are. I love that. I love your authenticity. I love, where your heart is. I just can't even say it enough. You know how I feel about you personally, but I'm talking about professionally. And it's just, it warms my heart to be connected to you, Zina.
Thank you. And likewise, I really appreciate this opportunity. I mean, we got 10 more minutes though, don't we? Or we got
time. We do. But he got, he's taking over.
Oh.
Armand.
Hey, this is not the Zina Pierre show.
It's not.
It is. When they come on the show and we bring you, it's her show. She a youngster at 61.
As founder, president, I acquiesce. I yield to, yield the floor.
Oh no, not yield the floor, not reclaim my time.
Listen.
I'm speaking.
Reclaim your time, Denise. Reclaim your time.
No, he does. No. What else? I think Armand is going to close us out with. You're going to close us out, right, Armand?
Yes, we're gonna give Roger a chance to say something. You said something very eloquent. I mean, I don't know if you want to add anything to it.
I'm good.
If you can, but Roger, what would you like to leave the great pastor with?
Extraordinary pastor. Yeah. But hey, it was an honor to meet you finally, instead of just looking at your picture on my sister wall. And I'm just amazed at what you've done in such a short time, 61 years old. And people think and you still have a lot more to do. More, importantly, and maybe just as important, put it out there, because I don't think Armand get enough props for setting up this arena, because like I said, a lot of information has been put out over the years. I've had people come up to me in the stores. Well, I didn't know that until I looked at your show, because we don't really get out like we used to, especially with the COVID. But I'm so glad that we got an opportunity to put you out there, and all these a plethora of comments that's coming over talking about how people feel about you and how much they love you, and the best water ever. I'm a satisfied customer and all that great stuff. Making me thirsty. I don't even have that water in my house, but But thanks for coming. We're gonna have to have you back.
I'll get all of y'all some water. Just I know Nene is in Georgia now, right?
Yeah, but I'll be back. I'll be back in the next month or so.
Okay, cool beans.
Yeah. Sure.
Hey, look,
Hey, Dr. Palmer's there. Hey, Dr. Palmer.
There you
go.
Hey, look, Zina, I want to say, I want to put out something administrative real quick. I'm gonna give it back to you. You can close us out with something encouraging. But just let everybody know, we're gonna take some time off. There'll be no show. There'll be no show this Friday. There'll be no show Sunday. There'll be no show Monday. But we'll be back on point on the 17th of June. We'll be back on point 17th of June, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody back in the place. But Pastor,
yes.
What encouraging thing would you like to leave for the people out there?
Well, let me just tell people who are going through something and you feel like, man, it's just like every time I look up, it's always something hitting me. I tell people, and I tell my church, every storm has an expiration date. And so no matter what you may find yourself in this season, there's an expiration date on that. But you got to learn how to shift with the shift. And that's what I've had to do all my life. I mean, I had all these jobs because I wanted to shift to, listen, I am the pivot queen. I have learned, Paul says in the Bible, I've learned, how to struggle in so many words is what he was saying. And so, I have gone through ebbs and flows of, jobs, finances, health, all that stuff. I was in the hospital, earlier this year with pneumonia, 3 weeks almost in the hospital. And you come out stronger when you make up in your mind that, okay, I got to do what I got to do. And I've always had that kind of mindset that, you know, there's nothing that I can see in a magazine that I can't do. That's why that one picture I sent to you, Nini, was with, it said Black women with wealth and power. And it was Susan Taylor and Donna Brazile and Mignon Moore and little old me. And that was 20, 30, almost 30 years ago. And it was because I sat on the shoulders of people like Dr. Dorothy Height, like former Secretary Alexis Herman. I mean, God just opened so many doors, like Dr. Barbara Williams Skinner, I mean, so many people. But like my mama and my grandmama Edna, who raised 11 kids, and husband died when, you know, he was very young, and she had to manage taking care of her kids, but she also took care of any strays that came in the house. And so I learned to be agile in whatever circumstance I'm in, and just keep it moving. And I think, you know, in this season, you're going to have to learn how to be agile, knowing that the storm has an expiration date. So if you're in this hole right now, the hole can't hold you. It's up to us to come out of that thing and keep it moving. And so I would love to come back and talk about seasons, because I have this analogy, Armand and Roger and Deneen, of seasons. There's based on plants, because I love planting, right? And so you got perennials, you got annuals, and you got weeds and cut flowers. And I'll never forget Dr. Height telling me that there's so many people out here that are pretending to be what they really are not. And they're just like cut flowers. They look pretty, but they have no roots.
That's a good one.
And so I want to talk about, you know, how you pivot in whatever season you're in, whether you're a perennial, whether you're an annual, whether you're a cut flower, or whether you're hanging around weeds.
You're gonna leave us right there. You're gonna leave us
right there, because
leave us hanging right there.
The weeds will take you. Well, the weeds are they look pretty because they look like little buttercups and all of that stuff, the little things you blow in the wind. But underground, underneath the hidden places of a weed, it's to destroy anything in its path.
Wow.
And so, man, don't let me preach it. Let me give you back to you. Go on, y'all go.
Amen, Pastor.
Amen. Yeah,
I was all into it. I want to hear it.
Thank you.
We'll talk about it another time when you.
All right. I'm waiting on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for.
Well, let me be the chaplain of the group.
Yeah,
That's
right. We need a chaplain.
That's right.
We need a chaplain. We didn't talk about because, you know, she gonna come back and we'll talk about some of the things that we haven't talked about. Thank you so much.
No,
we really appreciate you taking the invite, and we pray that everything you touch will turn to gold.
I received that. And I say one last thing, June 11th starts early voting. I can't leave without sharing that. So early voting starts June 11th, and the primary day is June 23rd. Please, I implore you to go out and vote. Please.
Vote.
I can't put on air who I'm supporting for county executive in Anne Arundel County.
We know who we're supporting too.
Who are you supporting? Pete Smith?
Amen. We're supporting Pete Smith, right?
Boom.
Exactly.
And so,
we had him on the show. We endorsed him.
Oh, well, okay. All right. So I'm free to say that then. Okay. I didn't know. I didn't want to, push it out there.
Hey, we're nonprofit, so we can't as a show.
Yeah, you can't. If you're 501c3, you cannot endorse. You can't do all that stuff.
We're not quite.
You can personally say who you support. You can't say it on behalf of legends, but you can say it as individuals who you support. So, and the support is not because he's Black. it's because he's qualified.
Qualified.
The best
You know,
qualified.
There's not one person almost out here that was in need of toys that did not get toys over the last 10, 15 years as a result of Pete Smith.
Pete's the best qualified.
And so Pete has done a lot for the community, black and white and brown. And I just think that he's a solid guy who has a heart to do what is right and what is righteous. So
he really does. He has a macro and a micro view, which I love that. So he has it all.
Okay, Pastor, hold tight. Okay, don't leave.
Hang on, we're gone.
We're gonna close this out, okay?
Okay.
All right.
That's what I was doing.